Well, in work with families, we ordinarily take a view of the family as being trapped somehow in a conflict that they can't resolve, or they're stuck in dead silence about a conflict that they can't resolve. And we ordinarily see um, some people on one side of the conflict, some people on the other side of the conflict, and that these people are kind of at war with each other. The conflict that they have may be something that involves another person. For example, if two parents are at odds about what to do with their 26-year-old kid who's at home, who is smoking dope, not going out for a job, sort of slovenly, and occasionally goes out with really dubious friends. One parent may say, we got to throw him out of the house, he's got to fend for himself. And the other parent may say, no, 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 he's too vulnerable, he'll fall apart, he'll kill himself. So we see in that instance people who might either get into a big fight repeatedly or might end up not talking with each other, but not doing anything about the kid, either one way or the other. So what needs to be done is to see how the cycle of their communication goes and how it manages to go nowhere, even though it's trying to. The one I tend to emphasize is what we call sequence analysis, or sometimes it's a sequence analysis. When there is a sequence that just repeats and repeats and repeats, it is possible to divine from that sequence a kind of a structure, so that if the sequence is this person says one thing and the other pulls back and says even less, and then this person says even less, and finally they're now talking with each other, we see in our mind's eye a kind of a structural wall. How do people get over that wall? What do they need to do to get over that wall? And that is sometimes true with organizations or a group of people operating on public issues who simply won't talk with each other. In family work and in work with groups who have, say, political differences, the one objective, one critical objective, is to help them to get to know each other. Each of them has a story about the other. The story is full of misinformation, invective, suspicion, negative attributions. And if, with the encouragement of a therapist in a family or a dialogue guide in, say, family therapy, on the ground in a PCP case, the people speak with each other in a more respectful manner. They tend to get a higher quality information from one another. They also get to know the other as human beings struggling to be nice, thoughtful, and respectful where they haven't been before. And by the time, after some time passes, each of them can't tell the same old story about the other because they know that that story is just dead wrong. The stereotypes don't apply. Ask people to say something personal. People tend to treat each other as though they're some kind of a caricature, a donkey or an elephant. And they aren't that. They're human beings who have, in great sincerity, different visions of things. And what's really important to do, a why, for example, is to invite them to talk about their own story and how it relates to the issue at hand. And stay with the story. The story is most important. It happened to you. You may think that their position is full of holes and that you should attack it all the way, but if somebody tells you a story about their life, that's their story. How can you attack it? No, you didn't live in Topeka. No, your mother wasn't a nurse. I mean, you can't say those things. All that's true. And when your dog died, it broke your heart. Yes, it did. You are the expert on yourself. You may not be the expert, ultimate expert on the issues that are disputed. Among the most exciting bits of research that have been done in the family therapy field, the work of John Gottman at the University of Washington is absolutely critical. It goes back about 20 years. And what he did was he took couples who were having difficulty. He developed over the course of many couples, many ends, a capacity to determine from the way they interacted with each other how long their marriage would last, whether it be 3 years, 7 years, 15. Not only that, he could predict the ugliness of a divorce, say, at 3 years. Now, having done that, it occurred to him that it might be interesting to find out if he could take those elements that were always associated with marriages that fell apart and see if people could learn to change their behavior and eliminate the most corrosive elements. Among the worst was sarcasm. So that if people discussing a conflict used a great number of sarcastic comments, the outcome data showed that they were very likely to come unglued and come unglued fast. He also did something fascinating. He studied the videotapes of what he called master couples. He studied the videotapes of couples who were scored very, very high by his team of people who watched behavioral moves, who took into account galvanic skin responses, blood pressure, pulse rates, etc. And there were a group of master couples, and he loved showing videotapes of those who permitted their tapes to be shown. And one then could see that in the middle of a fight, the master couples exchanged a very high number of positive comments toward one another. Some might, out of 20 comments to the other, 17 would be supportive and positive. One might say, how do you have a fight like that? And he said, well, here, watch this couple. And the couple, one member of the couple would say, you know, that idea you just told me is an example of your extraordinary brilliance and creativity. I don't happen to agree with where it goes, but it's awesome. Can I get you some tea? I'd love to see if a little bit more tea could get you to be so awesome again. Now, these people are having a fight. These people will last a long time. Now, what we do in PCP is we ask people to address each other with great respect. We don't want any sarcasm. We want them to show signs of appreciating one another, just like the couples who stay married for 50 years.